right, welcome. Episode 8, Ozheads. New location, same but different. We got kicked out of our warehouse this morning. We got in
too much stuff out.
There's a ton of stuff, so we got booted out into what is basically our everyday office.
There we go.
So, here we are.
Do we have the gate mouth? No,
That's Johnny. Gate mouth over there. Yeah. So we're making do with the space. So it's my first day back since flying to Vegas.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, man. I left here, on the 7th, so the 6th, it's been almost 2 weeks. It's crazy. Thaddeus is going nuts, shipping out Las Calaveras and Aramis. So they've been slammed.
That's good.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah, I went to a Dierks Bentley concert down in Florida.
Oh, okay, cool.
I've known him for a while. Great guy. Didn't know he was a cigar fan, cigar enthusiast.
A lot of those guys are, yeah. A lot of them.
And a lot of his roadies are too, so...
Yeah. It's a good way to kind of, I think, to relax after the shows and stuff, and in between, just have a cigar.
Brought him a box of, mixed box of Aramas and Bosphorus, so...
Nice.
He has that on the road now. He's traveling tons of places, so I mean...
Yeah, they all are. They're all back out because of post-COVID and everything, but Brad Paisley's another one that actually is a big cigar fan.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure there's more. I mean, I just need to think of who...
I told a funny Brad Paisley story actually at the show because one of the guys in his band is a neighbor of mine and a longtime friend. And he said, yeah, this is back like how many years ago when Brad was on the cover of Cigar Aficionado. And he said, hey, Brad's shooting the cover of Cigar Aficionado. He loves your stuff. And this one we just had 4 kicks out. And he said, bring me over some cigars and everything. He'll talk them up. So anyway, they shoot the article up in New York and everything. And Brad, I said, how did it go? And he told me that Brad wore the 4 Kicks hat and talked about our brand and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is so cool, And then the magazine comes out. And like, if you go back in that magazine, like they ghosted out the 4 Kicks logo.
Oh, really?
Blurted out, took every word of Crown Heads out of the article. Wow. That was a funny story.
Well, I remember reading about him when I was living in LA, and might have been like he was staying in the Marina. This when he first came out, and they said that he was walking around smoking a CAO, might have been a CAO Laniversario Maduro, around that area. And
yep.
You remember that? That was maybe the first time that we caught wind that he liked our cigars.
He came to the office with Chris Marcy one time.
Yeah, I don't think I was there though.
Yeah, I remember meeting him actually. This right before it took off and got really big. But so, how was Vegas for you? Good experience?
Well, yeah, it was my second year being back
in
Vegas for a while, so.
You never know. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, man,
how you doing? All right, Shepard.
Yeah,
that's good.
You never know when you might get a random delivery.
I know. That's what happens when you're sitting at the front of the house as opposed to the warehouse. So.
What is in this package?
I have no idea.
It's from Sam's Club.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's coffee.
Is it some Cheetos?
I have no idea.
But yeah, no, it was good. It ended up that, of course, I ended up doing a bunch of impressions during a dinner. We were entertaining some folks one night. So that was fun.
That's always good.
Yeah. I was ready. I knew I was going to be put on the spot to do it. So, I did that. But no, it's good. It's fun. The kids were there, Evan and Aiden.
I know, it's great. It's just very cool to see them kind of coming up in the...
Passing out samples.
Yeah, man. They're
smoking a bunch of cigars.
There's some cool pictures I saw of them smoking. Yeah. I was like, that was really good. Whoever shot those, they did a good job.
That's right. I asked them at the end of the day, I said, can you taste the difference? They're like, oh yeah. My younger kid's like, Evan taught me how to blow it out of my nose. I'm like, dude, they asked me, Dad, can you teach me how to smoke a cigar? That's the New Year.
Yeah.
So I taught him for New Year's Eve how to smoke a cigar. And so it was fun.
That is cool.
And then Evan was saying, Dad, I think I can write an order next year. Well, he actually wanted to write an order this year. I told him to shadow some of the sales guys.
Can you do it?
No, but I mean, you can do it next year.
I'm surprised you didn't do it this year. Seems to be pretty knowledgeable.
I mean, I grew up taking orders, with my dad and sister.
Had he written an order, he would have beat my productivity for this year. I put up the big goose egg. It was busy, man. I was talking nonstop. I didn't have a chance to even. In the past, I've been able to go out, walk around the floor, and say hi to friends and colleagues and everything. But I didn't even have that chance this year until the very end of the show. I went over and saw Nicholas Malolo at Foundation.
Yeah.
And that was about it. But it was just like nonstop. It was good.
Yeah, but
It was
it's
good to catch
part
up.
of like how I was raised is that
Yeah, you were always in
right?
the orders,
My father was
business,
like,
right,
today
right.
is a work day. No joke, period. So actually, it's kind of exhilarating. It's like I would imagine being on the floor of the stock market. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I actually like that. So I miss kind of not writing orders when you're in a new role of like
Yeah.
you sit back and you say hello to people and blah 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 and bouncer. It's a different dynamic.
Yeah. Saw some distributors, old and new, which
Yeah.
was good. That seems like we're really kind of getting into the foreign European market, which is exciting.
Yeah.
That's always nice. And
but it
saw
seems
some
like
old
it's
friends.
really just more about, to be honest, it's just about like what's new. That's like
Dude,
what, that's all it is.
And nothing's changed in 20 some odd
You know what I
years.
mean?
What's new? What they come in
Yeah, I
and
mean,
they
that's
ask
like
what's
it's-
new. Yeah.
It's like really, it's sort of like a what's new trade show.
100%.
You don't have like a lot of new stuff.
Unless you're like Padron or Fuente, and then you just show up and just, then people come to you or whatever. But yeah, for everybody else, it's kind of like what's new to the scene. We had some new products. We had some interesting products.
Yeah. Now
I
tell me about.
I didn't get a chance to smoke the pie red.
You didn't.
I did not. No.
So we didn't on the last time we did this talk about La Vereda because you hadn't
'Cause
like
I couldn't,
announced because
yeah.
you hadn't announced it yet. So can you like talk to us about like La Vereda
Sure.
and like what was the concept?
Yeah.
And,
No,
like, what was the?
It started
all
off
about it?
actually in March of 22. We hadn't done a regular production cigar with Ernesto at Tabacalera La Alianza since Capa Especial in 2020, COVID year. So I was like, I wanted to start working on something with Ernie. And so I hit him up in March of last year and I said, hey, you remember Rico Habano? And his eyes lit up and he's like, yeah, so let's do something like that, like strong and heavy, That's where we started, but where we ended up was completely different because we were playing with the blend back and forth. And then Ernie said, we're going to start all over again. And he kind of like basically said, okay, we're going to open the vault. You get to use these tobaccos. I'm like, oh. And so what came about is a completely different, very well-aged blend. Like the wrapper he's letting us use is a Nicaraguan shade-grown wrapper, grown in Jalapa. It's been aged a minimum of 4 years. It's the same wrapper they use for Encore. And Encore was their first cigar of the year. So I knew we would kind of be in rarefied air with that. So, but we play with the blend. The binder is also Jalapa. And then the fillers are combinations of Dominican, Piloto Cubano, which you like.
Yeah, I love that.
Aged a minimum of 3 years, and some Nicaraguan in there as well. So,
but all of
in
it is
4
minimum
sizes.
3 years. Is that kind of
Wrapper 4 years, fillers 3 years minimum aged. And then once the cigars are rolled, they're stored for another 90 days, and then they're boxed, and then we get them out. So the first shipment is going to come out, I believe we're just waiting on boxes from Tony. It's going to be August, and we'll get them out. But we oversold the production from the first
Oh, that's great.
shipment. So yeah, I was very excited. It was a great, rollout for La Vereda.
What does La Vereda mean?
It literally, the translation means like the pavement or the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I didn't go too deep into it with anybody at the show because I didn't want to focus on the inspiration of the name because people tend to get oh, that's the Johnny Cash cigar. Oh, it's the Led Zeppelin cigar. Oh, it's, you know what I mean? So I was like, let's talk about the tobaccos. But basically the inspiration, just the brand name, came from a Buena Vista Social Club song that Ernie would always play every time I would go down there.
Which
back
was,
in the Four
is
Kicks
that the name
days.
of the song? Was La Vereda?
It's De Camino a La Vereda. And so I just shortened to La Vereda. But
Was that his favorite song?
It just seemed to be the song that every time I heard it, I always think of being in his SUV driving from the Gran Almirante to the factory when we were starting to play with Four Kicks and all the rest of that stuff. So that was the name, but the inspiration came from a whole different.
I wonder how it goes because like that album was like such an influential album when it came out.
It's great, but the moral of the song, the story. It's like an old Cuban like fable or whatever. It's about basically staying on your path, not going off and being led astray, and that some people may appear to be something that they turn out to not really be. And I'm like, huh. I thought so. Back in March of 22, that really kind of stuck in my head, and so we used that for the name. But the blend and everything, even the packaging changed 3 times. Like I had the final production ready art files of different direction and packaging. And I don't typically run that kind of stuff by Ernie. We just kind of work on the tobaccos, but I showed it to him very proudly, and he's just like, eh. You know what I mean? He was just like, and I was like, really?
Say, Oye, chico.
Yeah, it was like he was being.
I don't like this.
Basically, yeah. Needless to say.
Needless to say,
So
I don't like it.
we literally, yeah. And I was like, wow. But Wade, our graphics guy, and I were both like, we thought this is great. It was a wrap set, and it looked like nothing else out there. But we said, okay. So we scrapped it, and we started all over again. And then I showed Ernie version 2.0. It's better, but he wasn't. And I really wanted everybody to be kind of like 100% on board with it. So then we went in a whole different direction.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then I started to get into all like I'm like, all right, let's look outside of the industry. And I started looking at like Patek Philippe and Gucci,
Cool. Can
Cartier,
you hand me that box?
all that shit. So that's where we took most of the inspiration from. So it's very different for what
This
we've
is the
done.
box.
That is the box, correct.
So, like, is there a meaning behind what you did with the box? And do you want to
we wanted to do a lockup. This is an LV. Some people look at it and say it's a V, but it's an LV for La Vereda. Just took a lot of design cues from the luxury brands outside of the industry. Inside has like a felt emboss thing. This closure, we eliminated all the hardware so you can just do like a humidor style closure, which fits was really
very
nice.
elegant.
Bunch ribbon. This was a whole different thing for me because I've never done a custom printed bunch ribbon, which sounds like it's easy, but it wraps around all the cigars. When you have 4 sizes, where do you print the logo, right? Like, so it was like this whole thing. Anyway, we got it figured out. Much shout out to my kid down at Tabacalera La Alianza. He showed me how to do it. And so it was good. It all came together.
That's great.
Yeah.
What did
literally like a day before the show practically.
What did the original ones look like? If you could describe
the
them.
original, I still have it on my phone. I showed a few people at the show, but the original was, the inspiration was, there was a designer in Nashville back like in this, I want to say 70s. His name was Newty. Newty, I believe, or IE. I don't know how you spell it. But anyway, his son-in-law is Manuel. You know Manuel? He's
Yeah.
So, but basically, Newty did these like beautiful, like embroidered with like rhinestones and like Graham Parsons comes to mind. He had this jacket that had like pills and cactuses and boots, and it was just like really cool, like Americana style.
And that's what Manuel was known for. Manuel was known for creating kinds of like the outfits like Elvis wore, for example, with the rhinestones.
Yep. All that. So that was kind of the inspiration for the first round of packaging, and it came out reminiscent of that. But
maybe if you sent Ernesto an outfit with rhinestones, he would have liked it better.
Can you imagine that?
Oye, chico, I don't like the rhinestones at first, but now I love the colors.
I would pay to see that.
I'm caught in a trap.
Yeah.
I can't change my color.
That would be funny. But you know what? In retrospect, he was right because he looked at it and he says, you know what? He goes, if you're doing like something exclusive for like Nashville, it would make sense. But like if you want this to be like a global brand, it's not going to translate outside of like Nashville. And I was like, okay. But I was pretty geeked. I might use it somewhere down the road if we do another Nashville exclusive or something. So
yeah,
I don't know.
That could be good.
We'll see. It'll be fun. But
that could be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Pie Red, which we talked about last time, has been smoking really well. I've been very happy with it. Again, that was kind of a exclusive 2,500 box thing. So
it's fun. Somebody was asking me what the next color was, and I wanted to say it was green. Is that right? Will green be in 24?
I think that the next color really is I have to look it up. It's either brown or burnt orange, which I hope it's brown. Burnt orange.
What does brown taste like? Tobacco?
What does burnt orange taste like? A burned orange?
That'd be tough.
An orange peel? I mean, it's pretty limited.
Yeah.
So I think I'll say brown.
It could be whatever you want,
It tastes like shit, man. I can tell you, we won't go down the shit lane. We'll go down more of the... Yeah, I think that like shit lane won't be good for cigars. No. But I think more we'll go down the cocoa and chocolate lane.
Chocolate would be good. There you go.
Diarrhea lane of cigars.
Keep that good.
Coffee,
chocolate,
coffee,
all those
cocoa,
things.
chocolate.
Yeah, I could see that.
You know, you could do all that. My dad liked everything kind of burntish, you know.
Yeah.
Like whenever you'd have like the burnt, like whatever. It could be like meat, fish. I will take the most burnt part. I will take the tail. It is burnt, Dad. But it is like a potato chip. Like that. I could go off on a tangent on that one.
Did you see anything like unusual at the show? I have one thing in my mind that I was going to say, but like,
I heard there was $100 cigar.
Oh, there's a lot of $100 cigars now.
There's
Oliva did a $300 cigar.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Yeah.
Let's do a cigar that is like the shape of a Vegas chip, and then just let people smoke that.
Some of the stuff was like. What came into mind, I'm not even going to mention the brand because I don't want to throw shade or anything, but somebody showed me a cigar that I kid you not, I put it up to my thumb. It was the size of my, like that joint of my thumb, like that. Like the whole thing was a band. I'm like, what is this? It looked like a butt that somebody left in the ashtray.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is like our #1 selling cigar in the humidor. It's $25. And I'm like,
what?
That's what I said. I was like, what?
No,
yeah.
no.
Like you literally light it, take 2 puffs, and it's done. I was just like, you got to be kidding me. Some of the stuff is just like.
I was in Houston and somebody came in and bought a 80 ring gauge cigar.
Do you remember
80 ring gauge cigar?
Asylum?
Yeah, I think it was.
They came out with a $50 cigar too. It seemed to be the year of like higher priced cigars, and I'm starting to think that now going forward, like maybe 2 years, within the next 2 years, like the norm is going to be that $18 to $22 range. That's going to be like the new 8 to 12. You know what I mean? It just seems like everything's moving in that direction. Just saying.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who knows? But I mean, Cole, you're saying we have some questions. Why don't you just fire away at these questions and then we'll just answer them as organically as possible without any sort of preparation?
Yeah, we have no idea what these questions are. You could be making this up for all I know.
Tim is so adamant about John making a 6x60.
I think, yeah.
I don't know if I'm adamant about it. I mean, adamant is like
He's just more open to it than I am. I'm more adamant about not making a 6x60, truth be told. But you got a 660 in Aramis.
We have a 660 in Aramis.
The difference between fresh packs and boxes.
The difference?
Yeah.
Humidification. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did our first fresh pack at the show. Awara's fresh pack called Bulls on Parade. And Miguel Chodel had been up, on my back to do a fresh pack because we weren't in that area. And I think they came out pretty cool. I like them.
But some fresh packs, do they just have like a humidipack in there?
Like there's like a wall, like there's a lining in the back of the fresh pack. Yeah. That's where the humidification goes in between that. So you never really see like a Boveda in there, but it's humidified.
How long do they last?
I was told like once you open it, it could be as long as like 6 months, but I don't know if that's possible once you reseal it.
But I mean, does it just feel like stiff when it's no good, like a Boveda pack?
I would imagine so.
Okay, so then it's no longer active when it doesn't feel gushy.
You've got like 5 or 6 cigars in a fresh pack. It's like how long? It's not going to take you 6 months to smoke those. You know what I mean? I guess it's for people that want to reuse them and use them, but I think it's a nice. It's a good lane to be in. I mean, I like it. I would do another one for sure. And I'm seeing more and more people hand out their samples, not in slider bags. I was telling Adam this morning. Instead of slider bags with a Boveda, they just have the like a fresh pack kind of a thing where you just stick those samples in there. I got a few of those actually in that bag. Got one from Foundation. It's really nice. I was like, I like that approach better. Maybe going forward instead of doing sliders and having to stick the Boveda.
Interesting.
But.
What's another question?
From what I really didn't see a lot because I didn't get out there, but I just kind of read after the fact things. And it seems like there was a lot of more higher priced cigars being released this year. Again, I alluded to like the Oliva $300 cigar. And I think, was it Saka that had a $100 cigar and things like that? It seems like it was more of a luxury vibe. I saw one company had a $10 million ashtray. Yeah, I know. Hey, the good news is if you sell one ashtray, you're good for the year.
It wasn't $1 million.
$10 million. I don't know. Yeah, So I don't know, but I wasn't able to really kind of canvas the floor and really see like a specific kind of it was mostly me just reading after the fact, like on Half Wheel or Cigar Aficionado and stuff like that. So it's kind of hard to get a feel for it. I'm still trying to like cull through everything, you know what I mean? And kind of figure it all out. But it was a good show. It just went by so quickly. It was like a whirlwind. I just remember the first thing I did when I got there at 10 o'clock, I still had my ear pods on. Somebody grabbed me and said, "Hey, can you sign this Calaveras hat?" And then from there, it was just like, and next thing I know, we were packing up and leaving. So it was nuts. It's crazy. One thing I did notice about like doing a PCA exclusive versus like a TAA exclusive. Like I've done a TAA exclusive since 2014. It started with the Angel's Anvil, and that's the Lost Angel. But at any rate, so you've got like 60 to 70 stores that buy a huge volume of that versus you've got probably 10 times the number of stores that go to PCA that buy less of the PCA exclusive. It doesn't seem to be as big of a deal with PCA as it is
that's
with TAA.
interesting.
Yeah. I kind of like, I don't know if I would do another PCA exclusive. We've done one.
How many companies do PCA exclusives?
Good question. I'm going to say maybe might be a dozen or so. I don't know.
One thing I did notice about the show was that they have this an area that is for like new companies, boutique
I
companies.
saw that. That's new.
They
for
were
this year.
promoting along the PCA, and
It was like the boutique section or whatever, right? Kind of.
Yeah,
They had like
yeah.
literally called it the Boutique Cigar Association.
but I asked a lot of retailers that we've known for a long time. It's like, God, how do you kind of cull through that and pick what you're going to carry?
How
or
do you even
not? And I mean,
quantify
it's
what
like,
is boutique? Like that gets thrown out so much. It's like
some of the concepts are just
yeah.
so off the wall that it's that that's the other thing. The other thing I've kind of picked up on was the trickle of like some celebrities kind of trying to get into the cigar game like they've done with like alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I mean, I don't know how successful. I mean, some of them, like with the George Clooney and
the Casamigos.
and the Casamigos tequila has been successful, but how successful are some of these other? You hear about them being successful, but I don't see them on the market as much.
You don't hear about them until after they sell to like Diageo or somebody for like $1 billion. And you're like, oh, that happened. You know what I mean?
Right. It's kind of weird. I mean, I think the impression I get is that they're looking to kind of spread their reach maybe into some of these other luxury items, and they have Guy Fieri with his cigar, and I saw Chaz Palmentieri was out there with his cigar, and
Chad Ochocinco also.
Yeah, I just don't know. I mean, remember typically when we were in it, those never worked because cigar smokers are pretty educated and savvy, and they don't bite for.
It almost.
I mean, there's kind of like a fine line between gimmick and clever idea.
I think that in our industry, like the consumer up until now has been seeing that like that's a gimmick. It's almost like an obstacle that you have to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, back in the day, it was like, was it Jim Belushi had one, Chuck Norris had one, Mike Ditka had one. They all just kind of came and fizzled out. But I will say that the one exception to the rules so far, I think, has been that Guy Fieri knuckle sandwich cigar. I think that's done very well. And I think the difference from talking to people is that Guy legitimately is interested in the product. And he's like when he does that, what's the Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives show?
Yeah.
So I was talking to somebody from Espinosa, and they were saying that he will be in city whatever, and he'll shoot the episode, and then they'll be like, okay, what store can we do a promo? And then he'll go to that store
and do a promotion.
Yeah, so he's actively pushing that cigar, and he really likes it. He's legitimately a cigar guy, and I think that's the difference. That's why it's succeeding, because he's behind it. It's not just he's licensing out his name or anything like that. So
he's sort of like he's legitimately knowledgeable about the product.
Yeah, one of their sales guys showed me a video that just like an Instagram thing that he sent to the force at Espinosa, and it was guy taped himself. He was just like tickled that he was on the cover of Cigar Aficionado. He's like, oh my God, are you kidding me? He's like, this means more to me than being on People magazine or any of that other stuff. He's like, this is like really a thrill for me. You could tell the guy's like legitimately into it. So I was happy
that might be that might be part of the.
It's a good cigar too.
Sauce.
I've smoked a few.
You have any other questions? Well, I mean, like if you look at our Ozgener Family Cigars Bosphorus. The 6.25 by 54 tastes a lot different than the 5.5 by 55 or the 4 by 50, and that just has to do with the proportion of what tobaccos are in what. Like the 54 is more of accentuates the sweetness, particularly from jalapa in that blend. Whereas the 4 by 50, it's almost like drinking a concentrated double espresso, I like to say, where you're getting more of the pepper and the sharpness of some of the stronger tobaccos in there because of what the proportions are per size. So that's kind of the magic of when you go to in-store, you can actually talk to somebody about those nuances of the blends, and then someone can recommend to you like what might be more down your alley depending on the style of smoke that you prefer.
I think that's a good way of putting it, actually. Which kind of brings up a topic that you're going to start doing some in-stores soon.
Yeah, I'm trying to like kind of get together all the material
All
for
the
that.
moving parts.
I don't have all that yet, but I mean,
that's a cool concept.
But I'll talk about it once I have it all ready
Yeah.
to go. Just sort of gathering it all together.
More about the components and the tobaccos. I've said it before, but when we started working on Jericho Hill in 2014, I went up to Jaime and I said, "Do you have?" I won't even talk about what tobacco it was, but I said, "Do you have this?" And he's like, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I want to make a poor man's Padron," and that's what Jericho Hill, the blend inspiration was basically, and that's why it's box pressed and all that. So a couple of bloggers back when we released it actually said, "This kind of smokes like a Padron," and I'm like, "All right, maybe we did something right." So it was cool. Yeah, but I don't see a 6x60 Jericho Hill anytime soon. No.
But we like all kinds of questions or suggestions.
Yeah, keep dropping them
as to who they
absolutely. It's fun to talk
who they may
about.
want us to have on, or what kind of questions people have.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's nice to be back. Kind of dig out from under the weeds, and go on to the next one. It's amazing, and then PCA is like in March.
Yeah. So it's going to be coming up on us before we even know it.
Yeah. So now, from a product development standpoint, you really have to you're in full speed ahead. So fortunately, I already have the Crown Head side of it done. So that was a lucky accident because I had two things that were ready, and we just held back the other one for 24 when they said it was going to be in March. It's not that far away. And you got TPE in January, you got PCA in March, and then the TAA they're going to push back to, I believe, October. So
and then there's a Big Smoke coming up in November. So
Yep.
we will be at the Big Smoke for OFC, so people could come
that's Vegas
visit
again,
us
right?
then. It's in Vegas again.
Yeah. Jeez. Dave's going to be in town.
Yeah.
July 31st.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
So, cool.
Are we good? Episode 8 is a wrap. And maybe next time we'll get let back into our warehouse, or maybe
we'll find another
or
alternative.
they'll kick us
location.
out somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, all right. That's
All
it
right.
for now. Drop questions, leave comments, subscribe, comment, like, all that stuff that the kids say. And keep smoking Crown Heads and Ozgener Family Cigars. We'll see you on the next one.
Ciao.